welcome back to GB News Live. Now, the King is to lead his first Order of the Garter service at Windsor Castle this afternoon, but one royal excluded from the historic procession for the second year running. Let's get more with our GB News royal correspondent Cameron Walker, who's actually at Windsor Castle. And, of course, we feature this every year with these slightly comical outfits, one might reflect, Cameron, but this is a hugely significant moment. I mean, the most historic and significant order of chivalry, I suppose you'd call it.
Yeah, it's certainly pomp and pageantry stepping up a gear, isn't it, with the robes and the big plumes of the hats that they are all going to be wearing. It's a 700-year-old tradition, dates back many, many years, and it all is about the legends of King Arthur, or at least that's the inspiration that they took when they first devised the most noble order of the Garter, the oldest and most noble order of chivalry in Britain. Mainly, most working members of the royal family are part of it, 24 knights in total. One slightly controversial knight is Prince Andrew. We're not expecting him to be at any of the public parts of today's proceedings, but he is expected, it's thought, to be at the private lunch in the Waterloo Chamber of Windsor Castle, as well as the private investiture in the throne room of Windsor Castle for the new knights or ladies to be personally invested by His Majesty the King. So following the private parts of the proceedings, members of the royal family and the other knights and ladies will process down from the upper ward of Windsor Castle to the lower ward here to attend a service at St George's Chapel in front of the world's cameras and the public who have been lucky enough to get a ticket in a ballot a few months ago. But it's not just members of the royal family who are part of this. We've got the King, we've got the Queen, who was appointed last year by the late Queen Elizabeth II to the most noble order of the Garter, the Prince of Wales. Prince Edward, of course, a special shout out to him today because it is actually his wedding anniversary. The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh got married in St George's Chapel behind me in 1999, so perhaps a pretty poignant Garter day for him. But other appointees, we have Tony Blair, former Prime Minister, Sir John Major, former Prime Minister, as well as Baroness Manningham Buller, the former Director General of MI5. But the two new appointees this year is Baroness Ashton, the former Labour government minister and EU diplomat, as well as the former governor of Hong Kong, Lord Patten, and they are going to be invested personally by the King before the service today. But despite the change of reign, traditions still continue. As I said, it's 700 years, and it's what Britain's all about, isn't it? It's pomp and pageantry.
And the question, I guess, Cameron, as to whether the Duke of York, Andrew, will be allowed to wear his regalia in that private session, if you like, because obviously he won't be walking down the hill, because we know he's not allowed to wear his uniform on these state occasions anymore.
Well, he's not, but if you look back to the coronation last month, Mark, he was making a point of wearing his Garter robes inside Westminster Abbey. So it wouldn't surprise me if in the private times today in Windsor Castle that he is indeed wearing his Garter robes along with the other 23 knights and ladies of the Garter alongside the King. I think perhaps the fact he did wear it in public last month means he's pretty insistent perhaps to wear it today, but I very much doubt, in fact, we're not going to see him in the public parts of the day, just like last year. Of course, he is no longer a working member of the royal family, and reportedly it was Charles that stepped in last minute to ban him from taking part in the public parts of the day last year, and we expect it to be pretty similar this year as well.
And I hate to ask this question, but is the procession route going to take in the scaffolding, the digger and the bags of sand and cement?
Yeah, it's slightly unfortunate, isn't it, that they're digging up the roads here. They're actually making this road outside Henry VIII Gate pedestrianised at the moment, which is why you can probably hear a bit of a cement mixer in the background as noise. But inside the castle precincts, I think it's still very much the pretty Tudor brickwork that is taking place behind there. There's no renovation work going on inside the castle, as we understand it, or indeed in the precincts outside St George's Chapel. So I'm sure the public and the journalists and indeed members of the royal family and other Garter knights and ladies will have a pretty picture of Windsor Castle in all its finery.
And sand and cement free, just as it should be. For the moment, Cameron, thank you for that. Back to you a little later, of course. Thanks very much.